What if I told you I could show you, in my opinion, what the best build of the league is? What if I told you there was a build that can clear all the content, blow up all the maps, clear Delirium like it was a white map, and just do whatever, whatever it wanted. It could move at the speed of sound, it could crush all the content, it could just blow everything up, it could do everything, just literally everything. As you can see in the background, showing in the video behind me, this is a build that I've come to present to you from some of the greatest minds that I have had the pleasure of being able to look at and pick. I present to you the Spectral Shield Throw build created by Root2. Now, I want to preference this that this is not my build, that I was directed towards this. I have managed to put it together with a little bit of help from some of my friends and you guys giving me some direction on where the gear goes and how things are put together. But the build idea and all the credit goes to Root2 as he figured it out. Essentially, Crucible came along. I had an absolute blast with my Lightning Arrow League start, and I started looking out for different things. I wanted to put out new YouTube content. I wanted to explore new options. And I reached out to a couple of my friends and I said, hey, what should I play? What should I look into? And I was directed by my buddy, Mr. Coolwit, and my buddy Ebil, and the British Exile towards Spectral Shield Throw and Shield Crush, depending on which way I decided I wanted to go. And that led me to finding out who Root2 was. I've known about Root2 from other leagues, but essentially exploring his build and his Spectral Shield Throw a little bit more. And as you can see in the videos playing, it is crushing all the content. It can do everything. It could put on magicifying gear. It could blow up all the content. All of the Uber bosses are a joke. And it is a build that you can play and start on a budget. There'll be a budget POB courtesy of Root2 as well, down below in the description. And you can start on a budget with a bad shield and hardly any gear and constantly scale your damage and scale your build. Now, if you come by the Twitch stream, you notice a lot of my friends are playing it, a lot of the community is playing it, a lot of the viewers are playing it. And there are a bunch of players at different stages of the build, from the budget to the extreme high end to way past where I'm at even with the build, and a lot of people that you could talk to and bounce ideas off of. So if you start playing this and you really like it, you can leave a comment down below, you can ask some questions where you get stuck, you can head on over to the Discord, you can stop by the Twitch stream, and there'll be plenty of people who'll be willing to answer a lot of your questions and help you. So don't hesitate, stop on by, say hello, and let us know how we can help you. Now, the purpose of today is you see in the video showing now that it just clears all the content and does everything. But I want to talk to you about the gear, the Atlas tree, how things work, and where we all go and belong. So let's get right into it. If we look at the character, he looks pretty sweet. He's got a rage bar, he's got totems, he's got adrenaline. I pop all my flask and I just kind of hit things, and he attacks really, really, really fast. Now we can see he has about 5.6, 5.7 attacks per second. He's crit capped. He's got, I can't show everything because I'm out of flask. 91,000 evasion, probably close to 101,000 armor. He just is absurdly tanky, and you'll see everything when we get to the POB. But let's start with the overall gear. Now with my gear, you'll notice that I'm wearing pretty high-end gear. In the POB, I have included a Scepter, my old Scepter that you can use and pretty much get the job done. But I was very fortunate to buy one of the first few mirrored Scepters that came out. And this thing gives me tier 1 cold, extra element as chaos, LE parent cold pen, hatred mod, the works. But what makes this work is that this weapon has fizz converted to cold. Now I know you're gonna look at the weapon and you're gonna be like, oh my god, bro, I can't afford this, man. There are other options, other alternatives. I put a thing, a little description down below about an awakener base that you could put together and just kind of get started. The weapon is not the most important piece of this. You need the weapon helps. The weapon gives you a ton of raw damage, gives you rampage, it does a lot of really cool things. And you're gonna say, wait, but I thought you were playing Spectral Shield Throw. Why does this weapon matter? We'll get there. We'll get there. Now we're looking at the helmet. The helmet gives us... Oh, wait, you didn't care. My bad, I'm sorry. The heat shiver is good. Let's talk about what makes Spectral Shield Throw Spectral Shield Throw. I know, they don't care about, they care about the shield. I know. Yeah, okay, the shield, I got it. All right, I know. I was excited, I wanted to talk about the gear. what you're all here for, and the main kebab, the main hootenanny, the main everything, the shield. The reason why Spectral Shield Throw can work. We're looking at an Emperor's Vigilance, 1005 energy shield, armor through the roof, spell block, extra armor, damage taken for block hits, bypasses energy shield. Wait, what? Oh, cannot block by energy shield. It's okay, I fixed it. Damage taken from unblock hits, though, always bypasses energy shield. Glancing blows. I'm gonna want to go back and watch this video and be like, man, it's supposed to be a build, guys. It's not supposed to be some dumbass stuff that you're doing. Anyways, the shield is the cream, the crop, the whole shebang that makes the build work. The shield is everything that you need, and you do not need 1005 ES or energy shield base to get this working. You could start with a basic Emperor's Vigilance, and you can slowly work your way up the ranks and get a better and better shield. The better your shield, the more damage. The shield will work alongside many of different things, and we're going to touch on all the different things that combine with the shield that make the shield fantastic. Now, the reason why this build works and it's as good as it is due to the fact that Crucible is in the game, and Crucible allows us to create the shield, and we get to add a couple of really important things into the shield. The shield gives us maximum energy shield, which is great. Reduced mana recovery rate, which we're not too worried about. We get 60% increased armor evasion energy shield. We lose 5% of our max life, but that's okay. You can also get this node with minus 5% max block, and once again, that's okay as well. It gives us 15% increased explicit defense magnifiers, or modifier magnifiers. It gives a shield charge, has rampage, or if you want to play the lightning variant, you can get the shield charge or the Spectral Shield Throw node. I personally am not using that one, so I don't have that one on my shield, but if you'd like, we can look into that in a future video. And last but not least, I'm getting 100% chance to avoid being shocked. This combined with a Stormshroud jewel, which we'll talk about later, gives us our ailment immunity. So our shield itself is giving us 1005 ES, 2200 armor, and gives us the ability to be completely ailment immune. It also gives us glancing blows. Glancing blows allows all of our block for spell and attack to be doubled. This is what gives us the ability to hit max block very easily. Now, once again, you don't need 1005 energy shield. You can start with a very basic shield. You can start with very basic gear, and you can scale your way up to where you're going to see that I'm at in this video. Now, our shield, we have life tap with Corrupting Fever. We do this so that when we press Corrupting Fever, we trigger Adrenaline as it uses a large portion of our life. We also have Anomalous Defiance Banner inside of our shield. The Anomalous side of Defiance Banner gives us increased armor and evasion. Armor and evasion for this build are extremely important, and it's one of the best ways that we scale our damage. Now, we scale a lot of our damage and stuff. As you notice, we're not wearing a Mage Blood. We're actually wearing the Perseverance belt. So you're going to see a big running theme with armor and evasion in this build, as Perseverance gives us 1% increased attack damage for 200 of the lowest armor and evasion. So, if I reset my Flask really quick, and I press all of my Flasks with all of my buffs up, you'll see we have 117,000 armor, 91,000 evasion. So 91,000 evasion divided by 200, it's 1%. Something like almost 400,000% damage. Math. It's not my strong suit. Double check my math. It's a lot of damage. The belt is also giving us increased max life, cold res, permanent onslaught. It's Mage Blood at home. Kind of something very similar to what we do with Sack Decks at home. If you know, you know. Anyways, moving on. So the shield synergizes with the belt. The shield also synergizes with the Scepter. We started talking about the Scepter earlier. The Scepter is giving us 109% cold. Ellie has extra chaos, damage pen, hatred, attack speed, double damage, fizz convert, crit, multi, life tap, rampage. It's giving us a whole lot. Now, essentially, rampage gives us a bonus for killing multiple enemies. We gain attack and movement speed. Life tap allows us to cast the spells associated in our Scepter for life, and we don't have to worry about anything. Crit multi is crit multi. We don't care about the crit chances. We're crit capped, and it gives us fizz converted to cold. Now, I know it's a mirrored Scepter. I know it's expensive. I have provided alternatives in the POB. In the description down below, it talks about slamming two Scepters together with an awakener's orb and just kind of getting the ball rolling. Crucible is very powerful. Crucible is very strong. A lot of players don't really like Crucible, and you should probably be looking into Crucible. So our Scepter has our Sniper's Mark and our Mark on hit support. Sniper's Mark allows us to curse our enemies to take increased damage from projectile hits, roughly our Spectral Shield throw. Projectiles which hit the curse enemy split. So we'll curse our enemy on hit, it'll split, it'll bounce, it'll Venge and Cascade, it'll deal a ton of damage. All of that is cast off of life because of the life tap on our Scepter. And we pair that up with Molten Shell, which we have on our left click. Molten Shell, yes, well nerfed, still is pretty good. I should quality this. I need a lot of work on my build. I know it's not done, I'm sorry. We went to go look at Heat Shiver earlier before production yelled at us and told us to get to the shield. Our Heat Shiver has Spectral Shield Throw, fires 3 additional shards. So when Spectral Shield Throw is thrown, as you can see, it'll hit an enemy, it explodes, shards will bounce out, fork all over the place, and hit a bunch of enemies. This gives us 3 additional shards, which gives us a lot more damage. Our Heat Shiver is corrupted with Socketed Gems, get a 90% cost and reservation multiplier. This allows us to fit all of our auras in. You do not need this Helm enchant or this Helm corruption. It helps a lot. You can go with 1 less aura to get started, but it helps. It's pretty important, and I highly recommend taking the time to buy a Heat Shiver with the Socketed Gems reservation. It's pretty good and very needed. Now, you gain 1% of cold damage as extra fire damage per 1% of chill effect on the enemy. So we have about 30% chill. We gain 100% cold damage as extra fire damage against frozen enemies. Anything that's not an Uber, we pretty much freeze immediately. So we just freeze the whole game and we just deal a bajillion extra damage. Big shout out to my friend Chronic Painless, because one of the best defenses is the best freeze fence. Did I say that right? Oh my god, he's gonna yell at me if he watches this video. Please don't yell at me. But Chronic Painless has shown me that some of the best things that you can be doing with a build is freezing literally everything. And you see that the build creator Ritu has taken a great opportunity to associate and combine freezing everything with Heat Shiver because our hits are so strong. Our Heat Shiver has our Divergent Determination. You don't need Divergent right off the bat. Divergent helps a lot. The Divergent gives us evasion rating as extra armor, so this gives us a lot more damage with our Perseverance. We have Grace, which gives us a ton of evasion. We have an Enlightened 4, which you could still get an Enlightened 3 and work your way towards Enlightened 4. And we have an Anomalous Hatred. You don't need Anomalous right off the bat. The Anomalous gives us increased chill and freeze duration, which makes things frozen longer. Now, we pair all of these really fancy gems. You're starting to see we have a bunch of Anomalous, Defiant, the Anomalous, Defiance Banner, the Divergent Determination, the Anomalous Hatred. And we're pairing all this with Ashes. And we're going to get to the Ashes in a minute, but we're going to continue going down the list and we're going to talk about our body armor. Our body armor is really important. Our body armor gives us a flat regen or life regen. Now, I managed to get very lucky. I bought the Fracture on this armor very cheap, very early in the league. I spammed Chaos Essences for Tier 1 Chaos until I hit Tier 2 Spell Suppression. Pretty simple to craft. It's just Essence, I'm pretty sure it's Essence of Envy until you hit Spell Suppress. I then Ashlinged for chances for Spell Block. I crafted on block attack damage. I slammed, got max life. My current armor is not perfect. I would like to have max life on it instead of hybrid life. Essentially what I would do is I would use Eldritch Currency and I would reroll the prefixes until I got tier 1 life. I would then lock suffixes, Ashling for the same exact thing for suppressed spell damage, and then craft on spell block. But I just haven't had the money. I've had other things. My character does everything that it needs. I haven't needed to min-max the armor, but eventually I'm going to want to min-max the armor. Our armor also offers us an increased effect of non-cursed auras from our skills at 20%, and it gives us Hatred has 27% increased aura effect. Our armor is very strong and very powerful. This is our main 6th link. This is where all of our damage is coming from, as our Phantasmal Spectral Shield Throw is located in the armor. Phantasmal Spectral Shield Throw, the cream of the crop, the bread and butter, the reason why everything works, is we get a crit multiplier per 100 maximum energy shield on our shield. So we get 50% crit multi per 100 energy shield on our shield. We have 1,005 energy shield, 50% per 100, 500%, right? Something like that. Math isn't my strong point. I hope I did math right. And that's how that works. We're going to be pairing that with Awakened Fork so that when our shield hits and the shards come out, They fly all over the place, they fork and they hit everything, they bounce back, they hit again, and so forth and so on. Divergent Trinity support. Divergent Trinity gives us a ton of damage based upon our lowest resonance. Essentially, when we hit a mob for a damage type, we create the other two. So if I hit for cold, I make fire and lightning. If I hit for fire, I make cold and lightning, and we build up a resonance. This build gets all three resonances very equally. We get a bunch of free damage, and the Divergent Trinity support gives us Fizz converted to a random element at 10%. You'll notice between this and the Scepter, there's a running theme. We're converting all of our Fizz damage into cold, or in this case with Divergent Trinity, a random element. So 10% of our damage is either going to be cold, fire, or lightning. 90% of our damage is going to be cold. We have Awakened Vicious Projectiles for a buku ton of amount of damage. We have Divergent Inspiration. Divergent Inspiration gives us a reduced mana cost for our Spectral Shield throw. And we pair it lastly with Awakened Elemental Damage with attack support, level 5. This gives us elemental immunity and just a ton of damage. Now you'll notice once again a running theme. We have Divergent Trinity, not Awakened Vicious Projectile, and Phantasmal Spectral Shield throw. A lot of alt quality gems that all come together and work very well. Our gloves are very special. We use the Calm Spirit gloves. This gives us the rage regeneration. This is why we have regeneration on our armor for life, as we're getting life regeneration from here for the Titan's gloves or the Titan gauntlets and the Calm Spirit. This way I could press Q on my Berserk, and you'll notice my rage is just lasting for a long time. We could press rage. It could last a good 15 seconds, maybe a little bit longer. We can like blitz through the map, kill a bunch of mobs. And then with the current state of our regeneration, you'll notice right away that our rage is regenerating super fast, and we pretty much always have an uptime of rage. We pair this with Phantasmal Ancestral Protector, so we get a lot of damage. The Phantasmal side of it gives us increased effect of the totem buff, so we get 66% increased effect of our Ancestral Protector. Our Ancestral Protector is giving us more attack speed and strike range, which doesn't really do anything, but it's just, it's a lot more attack speed. It's pretty good. We have Berserk, which we're pairing with everything. Berserk itself is giving us more attack speed, less damage taken, more damage with attacks, more movement speed. As you can see right now, this is how I move. This is how I attack. And then if I press Berserk, it's just a very noticeable difference. Same thing when I drop the totem and I start attacking. You can see a very big difference right away. We're going to be using Anomalous Blood and Sand. Anomalous because it increases projectile attack damage while in Blood stance, or projectile speed while in Sand stance. In our case, we're going to be staying in Sand stance the entire time. So we're just going to get a ton of projectile speed. And we're going to compare everything with enhanced support to increase the quality of everything on there. Moving on over to our boots, you'll notice once again a running theme. Our boots have Spell Suppress, Strength, Life Regeneration, and the suffixes. The Life Regeneration, very important as it pairs very well with our gloves and gives us a ton of extra life regeneration. Spell Suppress so that we can embed Spell Suppress, and we crafted these boots with an essence of Strength because our build lacks a lot of Strength and we had to pair it very well with Strength. If I had a better roll on my Strength, I'd be pretty happy, but I'll take 53 and high life regen. We also managed to get movement speed, life, and hybrid evasion and armor. On the Eldritch Implicits, we're going to gain 5% physics extra cold and action speed. Now, my boots, normally I would ashling the boots and do a bunch of cool stuff and have tier 1 life. I hit my boots with a few essences, and this is how they turned out, so I left them alone. I'll fix the boots in the future, but right now the way they are very good. The action speed and the extra physics cold is huge. I highly recommend these for your Eldritch Implicits. If you can't afford Stormshroud and you need to go with Ancestral Visions, you could swap physical damage for ailment immunity. Now, we've looked at all the gems. We looked at all the alt quality. Oh, sorry, we haven't looked at all the gems. I lied. We have Shield Charge, Divergent Frostblink, and Brutality. All these three linked together. The Brutality is on the Shield Charge and the Divergent Frostblink to help you not kill yourself on Fizz Reflect maps. Because you will kill yourself if you shield charge into something. So Brutality makes it so you deal seals deal no elemental damage. All of our damage is elemental, so our shield charge deals no damage at all, and our frostblink deals no damage at all. We can like make frostblink not really attached and like do some damage with it, but I was too lazy and I didn't want to fix my links. And then we pair it with Diversion Precision, which gives us 5% increased damage. I'm excited about the ashes. I know I keep talking about the ashes and I'm cutting off the other gear and I want to talk about the ashes and I love the ashes and it's foil and it's staring me in the face. And, I like this build. I'm sorry. I'm excitable. Forgive me. Our ashes is very important to the build as it gives us three major things. It gives us mana reservation, gives us level of all skill gems, and it gives us quality on all skill gems. So this is very important with the alt quality gems. So you'll notice that our Phantasmal Spectral Shield Throw, for example, is 20% crit multi. And then when I put it in my armor with Ashes equipped, it goes from 20 to 50. Ashes gives us a ton of quality in our gems, a ton of extra damage, and pairs really, really, really well with all the alt quality gems that we're using in the build. Ashes also gives us increased mana reservation. If you're looking for an Ashes and you're looking for a roll, my buddy Coolwit told me 18% increased mana reservation is really good. 28% on quality of skills is what you should be aiming for, an 18-28. I, on the other hand, bought the cheapest Ashes I could find. At the time when I built this a few weeks ago, I hit mine with a couple of Divine Orbs. It ended up 15-30. I left it alone as the build worked. Check POB, run the numbers, compare it with what you have, and see what works. On our Ashes, we're going to anoint Avenging Cascade. The cream of the crop of the league, Avenging Cascade. You'll notice as I throw my Spectral Shield Throw, it's supposed to come back. Why you not come back? Oh, it is coming back. It's coming back off the screen. You little stinker. I like threw it over here and it bounced all the way up. I was so confused. Anyways, Avenging Cascade allows us to throw our shield. It hits the enemy. It forks. It explodes. It does what it does. It flies off. It comes back. It hits the enemy again. It forks. It explodes. It does everything.
I can't do this just yet.
That's that. Now, the last two major things are our rings. This build lacks a lot of resistances. As you'll notice on a lot of the gear, the only places that we have resistances so far is we have chaos resistance on our armor, we have cold resistance on our belt, we have fire resistance on our gloves. So we have like no other spots for resistances because there's no resistances on our boots. There's very little resistances on my heat shiver because I bought a bad roll because I was crazy. There's no resistances on our shield or our weapon and nothing on our necklace. So all of the build's resistances are now focused and pointed towards the rings. Now, my rings are fractured to increase elemental attack damage with skills. These rings with the fracture are pretty expensive. You don't need this fracture right off the bat. This is just more damage that you can get later on. But the rings, it is highly advised to get rings that are eye level 80. I think it's 84, double check, 84, to get tier 1 resistances. Now, I have tier 1 chaos, tier 1 lightning, tier 7 fire. I personally would like to redo this ring in the future when I have more money and go for tier 1, tier 1, tier 1 if possible. If not, 1, 2, 2 would be great. Anything to just keep my resistances above where they're at. Looking at my resistances right now, they're a little over capped, but it took a little bit to get there. Yes, okay. I was just making sure I didn't have my Magic Find set up on because my Magic Find had extra resistance on the tree. Anyways, the second ring, the same thing. You'll notice a running theme, a ton of resistances. I will also, again, with this ring, would like to recraft the ring to have tier 1, tier 1, tier 1 resistances, but they serve its purpose for right now. The rings do one very important thing. They give us a lot of resistances, and they give us non-channeling skills. The rings themselves are very easy to craft. We do this in Harvest with Reforged Chaos until we hit the resistances that we want. Once we get the resistances that we want, we hope for an open prefix. If no open prefix, we annul for a prefix. We do Wild, Bistral, Matron, the Beast, whatever the Beast is called. Wild. I do this all the time. I should really know what this beast is called. There's a button. There's a button. There's a button. There's a button. Recipes. Wild, Bristol, Matron. We do that. We craft on suffixes can't be changed. We veiled Chaos Orb. We craft mana. We unveil life. We craft on non-channeling skills. If you have questions about how to create the ring or questions at all, period, about how to craft any of the armor, any of the gear, anything, please comment down below. I'd be more than happy to give you the notes. There'll be a link to Ruthu's POB, which has a lot of the notes in it as well, so don't hesitate to ask. Now, that's all the gear, that's all the skills, that's all of everything. The flasks are pretty basic. I use a Basalt Flask for 20% more armor with increased armor during effect. I'm using a Jade Flask for evasion rating and attack speed. I'm using a Stibnite Flask for more evasion and critical strike chance. And I'm using a Quicksilver Flask Wait. Oh, yeah, okay. I'm using a Crucible Flask for movement speed and more evasion. In my head, I kept saying, more evasion, more evasion, more evasion. Yeah. So, the Flasks are pretty basic. Looking at the skill tree, we chose Champion. We're going to take Unstoppable Hero. We cannot be stunned while fortified. We have permanent fortification. We can never be stunned. We get extra evasion and armor while fortified. We have 20 fortification. We're always fortified. We take 1% less damage per hit from fortification with a maximum of 20. So we take 20% less damage. We're going to pair this with First to Strike, Last to Fall. This says your hits permanently intimidate enemies that are on full life. We gain adrenaline for 20% or for 20 seconds when on low life. We recover 25% of life when you gain adrenaline. And we remove all ailments and burning when you gain adrenaline. So that's what the Corrupting Fever is for. We press Corrupting Fever, we lose a ton of life, we gain adrenaline. We're going to pair this with Inspirational, which is giving us 30% increased effect of non-curse auras. You and your allies affected by your placed banners regenerate life. We really don't replace their banner, but when you do, you can get a little bit of life. Our banner skills have no reservation, and when you create a banner, it gains 40% of the stages of your placed banner. So it's pretty good. It's just a lot of non-curse aura effect. Champion is a duelist, for those of you guys who don't know. And we start duelist. Now, we take Master of the Arena for strength, life regeneration, melee fizz, bravery for increased evasion and armor, Art of the Gladiator for attack speed, dexterity. All movement penalties from armor are ignored. That's pretty important. We take Fury Bolts for increased speed and damage and strength. We take 1 point here for life and mana leech because we deal so much damage. We're going to take Graceful Assault for an increased effect of Onslaught. Because we're always fortified, we always have Onslaught, so we have permanent Onslaught. We gain 30% increased armor and evasion during Onslaught, which is always permanent. And we're going to take this note that says every 4 seconds regenerate life equal to 1% of your armor and evasion over 1 second. So, we regenerate 4% of our life, or 4% of our life equal to 1% of our armor and evasion. We have a lot of armor and evasion. This happens every 4 seconds. We gain a ton of life, which is converted into rage, and that's how we maintain our rage. Moving down the tree, we're going to take this Cold Mastery node, which is going to give us 40% physical damage converted to cold. We're going to gain damage with weapons, penetrates cold resistance, which is like whatever, and 30% increased cold damage with attack skills. Coming over here, we get Long Shot for increased projectile speed. If I was 1 level higher, I would have Thick Skin, which would give us more max life and avoid ailments. We take Entrenched for spell suppression, life gain with our flash charges when you suppress spell damage. We're going to grab Lethality for just more projectile attack speed, crit multi, Projectile Mastery for more projectile speed. Now you're going to notice I have a Brutal Restraint. My Brutal Restraint 6114. When I bought it was 3 divines. I don't know how much it is now. I don't know if it exists, but at the time when I bought this about 2 weeks ago, there was like 5 of these. These might still exist. They're probably going to be a little bit more expensive. This Lethal Pride is giving us evasion rating, non-curse aura effect, Fizz is extra cold, and yeah, so it's 1 evasion, 1 non-curse, 2 non-curse, Fizz is extra cold. There are better Brutal Restraints. Take a look around on the website, use Path of Building's tool. I'm pretty sure you could find one that'll fit your needs. Now we pair this with Herbalism for more max life, blast recovery rate, Intuition for spell suppress, evasion rating max life. We get Quick Step for spell suppression movement speed. Now, if your gear is rolled better than mine and you have better spell suppress on your gear, you could probably cut out some of these nodes and move things around. So if you get better gear than I have, which is you can do, you can move. Oh, excuse me. You can move a lot of these nodes around. We're going to take Heartseeker for crit multi. We're going to take Innervate for prevent spell damage. Prevent an additional 3% of spell damage, which is really, really good. Force of Nature. Attack damage penetrates cold resistance. We're going to take hits, have a 25% chance to treat enemy monster elemental resistance values as inverted, so it flips them around and gives us a huge damage boost. We attack 4 million times a second, so this is pretty much always a thing. We take Revenge of the Hunted for increased evasion rating, max life, spell suppression 1 full life. We're pretty much never on full life. The spell suppression here is irrelevant. I wouldn't worry about it too much. We come over here to the Reservation Mastery. We get Charisma for RMR and non-curse aura effect. We take the Reservation Mastery for auras from your skills have 10% increased effect. Then we come over here to this Jewel Socket. Now, eventually I'd like to replace this Jewel Socket with a massive Thread of Hope and take a couple of points and move a few things around and get a large big boost from that. but in the current state of things, I do not have a massive thread of hope, so I'm going to film the video as with the gear I have and show you how I'm progressing. I put Seething Fury in this socket. We get 14% increased attack damage while holding a shield. We get 0.15% offhand critical strike chance per 10 maximum energy shield on the shield. Once again, we have 1,005 energy shield, 0.1% per 10. That's a lot of critical strike chance. We get 4% crit multi. So essentially, just to kind of show you, if I look at Spectral Shield Throw, right now I have, where is it? Crit chance, attacks per second, chance to hit, critical strike chance, 87.8. Without all my Flask and everything up. If I take this out, my 87.8 goes to 21%. My crit multi 770. So this jewel by itself is adding 400% crit multi, 60% critical strike chance. Like, what? This thing was like, I don't even, it's not even expensive, man. It's honestly not even expensive. I'll show you. It's a whopping 50C maybe? Very strong, very powerful. I know there's cluster jewels. We'll get to them in a minute. Now, we could take Mark of the Prey. You don't have to take Mark of the Prey. You can get Split Shot instead. I like Mark of the Prey a lot. Mark of the Prey has reduced accuracy rating on the enemy. The enemy takes a bunch of extra damage. The enemy also has 10% chance to gain a frenzy charge when you hit a marked enemy. This is really good for bossing. So you mark a boss, you hit the boss, you throw your shield, and it just gives you a ton of frenzy charges up to 3 very quick. I mean, everything dies immediately, so I mean, like, it's good, but I mean, everything dies immediately. We're coming up here for Mind Drinker. We cover maximum mana on kill. We're going to take the RMR node here. I like these nodes a lot. I think this RMR node is really good. We have Stormshroud here, which we mentioned earlier. Stormshroud pairs really well with our shield. It says modifiers to chance to avoid being shocked apply to all ailments. This is tied with Corrupting Blood. Our shield gives us 100% chance to avoid being shocked. Stormshroud gives us full ailment immunity. Now you could put Ancestral Visions here and get ailment immunity there via half your spell suppress. You could take the rest of this wheel for ailment immunity, and you could change physical damage as extra cold into ailment immunity and be ailment immune that way, if you so choose to. And then we come up here to Influence for more non-curse aura effect, a little bit more RMR, and a little bit more non-curse effect. The overall skill tree is pretty simple and pretty straightforward. Now, our large cluster, I have a large cluster that has Martial Prowess, Prodigious Defender, and Prodigious Defense and Veteran Defender. This is giving me 3% spell block, 3% attack block, 30% increased damage while holding a shield. Martial Prowess is giving us attack damage, attack speed, global accuracy rating, damage with elements from attack skills, and Veteran Defender is giving us all attributes, all resistance, and increased defenses. Now, I actually have 2 of these. These aren't the optimal, or one of these is optimal. You don't need 2 of these. There is another option that you can do. I'll post that in the description down below. But I personally have 2 of these. In the jewel up here, I have a medium cluster that is Pressure Points Quick Getaway. Pressure Points gives us increased attack and cast speed, movement speed. If you've dealt a critical strike recently, increased critical strike chance. Pressure Points is giving us increased critical strike chance and chance to deal double damage. So we have double damage here, double damage on our weapon. We already deal 200 million damage. We pretty much just blow everything up altogether as it is. So overall, it's like working together. Now, I have a Whispering Glare Hypnotic Eye Jewel. This is for the strength and extra cold resistance. That's all this is for. If you get better gear, which you can get better gear, you have one jewel socket to fix all the issues and all the problems that you have. And you can use that jewel socket pretty much to your advantage to do exactly what you need to do. And just kind of like mess around with things and kind of figure out where you want to be and how you want to do things. Use that jewel socket to your advantage. It is a really good jewel socket. You can get a lot of things done with it. So just keep that in mind. Moving on down to our Watcher's Eye. I have taken 35% physical damage converted while affected by hatred. That's pretty much the important part of the Watcher's Eye. We get 35% phys convert here. We're getting 40% here. That's 75. 15% here is 90, and then 10% from the Trinity support is 100. So that's how you get that. The attack speed while affected by precision is extra. You don't need attack speed while affected by precision. There are a lot of variants of Watcher's Eyes out there. I got this one for super cheap. It is not super cheap anymore, but I bought all of my gear weeks ago. So hunt around, look around. The only thing that's important on the Watcher's Eye is the fizz converted to cold. So keep that in mind. Moving on down over here, I have a pair of Forbidden Flames and Forbidden Fleshes. Before I show you what they are, yes, they are expensive. Yes, they're alternatives. No, you don't need to spend this much money on mine. No, you don't need to mimic them. Yes, I have given you other options in the description in the video down below. If you're not watching this and you yell at me in the comment section, I'm sorry. They're expensive. They weren't when I bought them. I managed to buy the pair of these Forbidden Flames and Forbidden Fleshes for 50 divines. They are no longer 50 divines. They are very expensive. I bought these weeks ago. Please don't yell at me. I am using Arena Challenger. The red side. Good God. Well, the red side is 63 divines at the time of recording, and the blue side is 6. Jesus. Oh my God. These got so expensive. Holy crap. Just get Headsman, man. Headsman's like a quarter of the price. There's so many other options. You don't need these. These are just nice. They're great. They actually add a ton of damage. They're actually a ton of movement speed. They're really freaking strong. You don't need them if you can't afford them. Now, I have my POB. I pulled it up. I have this. I grabbed it. My skills. Spectral shield throw. I set it to 2. We can see right away that I have 186 million DPS. I'm pretty sure it's a lot higher than that, and something's configured wrong. Oh, I know it's configured wrong. Wait, what the heck? 93. What level am I? 97. I'm missing 3 points. Oh, Mark of the Prey's not on. 204 million. I'm still short in damage somehow. I don't know how the heck I'm short damage. That's my old weapon. Okay, yeah, if you come into here, you can actually see my old weapon. Which you could see my old weapon versus my mirror weapon is only like a 20 million DPS difference. You don't need the good weapon. Configuration's really simple. Resonance count 50. Our skills have forked. They've traveled 10. We technically ignite and shock everything, but I mean, like, clicking these buttons really don't do anything. We have effective chill, Guardian Pinnacle boss. I put us at 25 rage because that's a really good average. If you want, you could put 50 rage to pad the numbers and go up to 217 mil, but we're 25 rage. When we're mapping or blighting or doing delve, we'll have rampage, and rampage is really easy to stack to 1,000, so that adds like another 1,000 DPS or 10,000 DPS. So we're roughly about 204 million DPS while we're doing a regular map and doing a regular boss. If I kick this up to Ubers, we're at like 58 million. It's a lot of damage. It's really strong. The build's really cool. It's got 177 effective hit pool. It could be a lot higher. It could be a lot better. My gear could be a lot better. We're showing 114,000 armor, 91,000 evasion, 1,800 energy shield. Our life is a little low. We can use, like I said, another 100 life on our armor, so forth and so on. So there's a lot of room, even for my version of it, and what I've done for improvement. There's a lot of room, and it's awesome. We have a 98% effective crit chance. We have 1,170 crit multi. We have a 98% chance to hit. Technically, we have 100, but it's 98% against evasive monsters. A little bit more accuracy. Our damage will go up through the roof. And we just do everything, man. We clear all the content in the game. It's so much fun. It's so much fun. I have an entire set of magic find gear that I can throw on the character that I have in another tab. That when I get bored, I throw on a Greed's Embrace, Goldworm Boots, and 2 Venters. I take some Strength Nodes on the Atlas or on the passive skill tree, and I go magic finding. You've seen in the beginning of the video, the build just crushes everything, and at the end of this video now, I'll include a full Maven fight, and just does everything. If you want, head on over to the Twitch stream. You can watch me play it live and do all the things. I know this video ran a little long, I'm sorry, but thank you for bearing with me and watching it through. I just wanted to make sure that I explained everything to you guys. But for now, have a wonderful evening. Thank you for spending your days with me and supporting me. So we just had 1 million views on YouTube as overall views, and just thank you. Thank you for being you. Thank you for being here, and thank you for supporting me. I look forward to making the next video for you guys. And if you like this build and you want more of this, or you want me to go into detail about other things, please let me know in the comments down below. I love to hear from you guys, or join the Discord, or come to the Twitch stream and do all the things. But for now, I'm going to go get this video edited out to you guys, and I'll see you guys on the next one. So long, friends.
The prize base comes to join. Cascade of
Pain will be returned tenfold. Space aligns. Behold my connection.
I will have what I want. Death will not be an escape. Scurry, scurry.
Resistance will be punished. Retorts. Scurry, scurry.
My irritation is growing. It will not be an escape. Scurry, scurry. How?
Stop resisting. Reality. Punishment inescapable.
Arrogant toy. Death will not be an escape.
Can't do this just yet.
Scurry, scurry. Stand
Caretaker! 3! The living toy must enjoy our contests, for it continues to play. You